Esta es Hester.
And dit is Maria.
Y juntas somos
The Consort Counsellors!
Today we're going to speak about articulation and how to make optimal use of it in ensemble playing. Of course, articulation is a huge topic and it touches both on stylistic issues and also technical issues. So what we're going to do today is keep it simple and speak about variety in articulation and coordination within the ensemble.
Articulation has everything to do with the way our airstream is interrupted by the tongue. We can vary the strength of our articulation by the way we touch with our tongue, the palate or our teeth, to start a note. And we can also vary the length of the articulation. For example, when we play legato from one tone to the other, the note has the maximum length possible. But we can also play pizzicatissimo. Then the note is very short and we have to lift our tongue a split second after we started the note. And everything in between is also possible, so that gives us a huge range of possibilities.
Could you show us some variety of strengths in articulation? And how about variety in length? Today we are going to, as I said in the beginning, keep it simple and focus on single tonguing, so series of just one and the same syllable, and we are only going to use for that the syllables te and de, so te, de, and maybe some combinations of these two. If you are a very advanced player, you can also use combinations of 2 and even 3 syllables together, and you're gonna work as well with syllables like ge, ke, re, and le, and more.
When we teach, we often notice that students find it difficult to connect phrasing with your articulation.
And we are going to show you an example with the canon, Have You Seen the Ghost of Tom?
How to follow the phrasing with your articulation? Well, let's look at the text. Very simple text in this case. The first phrase goes like this. Have you seen the ghost of Tom? And the second phrase goes, long white bones with the skin all gone.
So, to connect your articulation and your phrasing, step 1, play each of those two phrases completely legato, slurred, no articulation at all.
This will automatically connect all the notes within one phrase.
And it has the added advantage that you can check if your fingers are moving gracefully and if there is any coordination problem, and if you have also enough air to make it from the beginning until the end of each phrase.
Okay, now step 2. Let your tongue gently interrupt the airstream only on the moment when you go from one note to the other. So one action is the ending of a note, but also the beginning of the next.
And then, of course, here comes the ensemble aspect. Play it in canon and keep the phrasing as you practiced it.
Okay, let's now move on and let's experiment with the strength of our articulation. We are going to play one note a couple of times in a row, starting with a very ugly T against the teeth, moving the tongue back up to the palate until you reach a D, L, and then finally ending up with no articulation at all.
Remember, it's very important that there is really no interruption, no gap in between, so we still keep the articulation, the interruption of the airstream as short as possible. Now let's apply this also to the canon that we just practiced, and let's start every phrase with a really strong articulation, ugly, but then by the time we get to the end, we are playing very soft. So gradually we play with softer and softer articulation in each of the phrases.
You can of course also do the exact opposite, from a very mild articulation until very rough in the end. Let's try to do that right away.
Yes, so what these exercises are good for is to show that when you're actually making music, you have a lot of possibilities to choose for harsher or softer articulations, even within the phrasing, and staying true to the phrasing of the piece.
In the next exercise, we are going to add one more aspect that gives more variety to your articulation, namely length.
When we want to play notes that are a little bit detached, or maybe they are very, very short, or pizzicato, then we need a little extra action from the tongue.
Yes, the tongue needs to stop the note before we go on to the next. So in this case, the ending of the note is not the same action as the beginning of the next. The tongue needs to do two things.
To practice this, we are going to go back to the same Sonata by Johann Mattheson that we already used in the last episode, opus 1, number 3. And we are just going to concentrate on 3 bars of the second movement, in which we have actually parallel movement in 16th notes.
When you share the same note values, it's extremely important that you follow the phrasing and that you share the same articulation to make your playing impeccable.
So have a look at the bars 3, 4 and 5. We are going to play them for you 3 times. We are going to use articulations involving the syllables T and D, and also various lengths of those syllables. And we are going to make sure that we are exactly sharing the same idea on length and articulation.
You can make many different combinations of long and short T and Ds and practice them all. And in the meantime, you can also find out for yourself which one fits the phrasing of your melody better and make conclusions.
Of course, not every combination of long, short, T and D is equally historically informed or equally musical, but it's a matter of practicing every possibility so that you have full control over your ensemble playing. And then if you really want to know what is the most historical combination that you can use in music of the times of Mattheson, you can read Quants.
To Today we let you listen to a performance of Manjunath BC. He performs Karnatic music, which is a type of Indian classical music from the south of India, and he also performs in many crossover projects. And the great thing about his performances is that he uses polyrhythms in a sublime way.
Absolutely, and he also speaks a lot of very complex rhythms using syllables that are very familiar to recorder players, so you are going to be really impressed watching it. Have fun!
Din ta din ta din ta din ka ta din ta din ka ta.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And if you have comments or questions for us, contact us
Here.
See you next time!
Bye bye!